Hi, this is Stacy with Lily Bean Crafts by Stacy. Welcome back, and if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. I recently put together a collab of a bunch of work I've done over the last 5 years, and I came across a technique that I haven't done in a really long time, and I wanted to do it again. So I'm starting off with a 17-ounce wine tumbler that I got from the Stainless Depot that I've already cleaned, prepped, and spray painted white and let it dry. I'm going in with Adhesive Apothecary's Tack It. I'm going to do the Tack It method on this particular tumbler. So I'm just taking this nice thick brush that I got from the dollar store and making sure that I get full coverage, making sure the lines are straight up and down from the Tack It glue, and I'm going to go ahead and put that off to the side and let it dry. Once it's dry, it's going to be tacky, and I'm going in with Prism Junior from Rae Creations. It's a beautiful opalescent white that's really, really light, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that all over it, make sure it's fully covered, put the rest of it back in the container. Then I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper, and I'm just going to start taking my hand and just rubbing it over the tumbler and getting it to burnish out that beautiful Tack It look. So once I have this all done, I'll go ahead and put this off to the side for just a few, make sure everything is completely good, and then I'll get going on to the next step. When I'm done rubbing off all of the glitter, it is all ready to go directly into its first coat of epoxy. I am going in with 10 ml of my Flynn Sisters Fast Set Epoxy. I'll go ahead and let this spin for about 2 hours, let it completely dry. And then I'm going to go directly in with another 10 ml of my Fast Set Epoxy, let that spin for 4 hours, and then we'll be ready to start the technique I'm going to be working on today. Over 4 years ago, I tried making a few tumblers, and I used temporary tattoos that I got from Amazon, and I loved doing it, but it was just something that I just didn't stick with. I did it like a few times and then didn't do it again. Like I said, as I was putting together my little collab of my what I've been doing over the last 5 years, I ran across them and decided that I wanted to try it again. I found these ones on Amazon. I definitely wanted to go with a floral look. And it is kind of like doing water slides in how you use water to release it from the backing. So I'm sure you've at some point in time in your life put on a temporary tattoo. So yeah, I'm just figuring out where I want the placement to go. And then I'll take the top carrier sheet off, and the material is a little bit tacky, the print. So I'm just going to go ahead and press it on here, and then I'm going to take a bowl of warm water and some paper towels, and I'm just going to go ahead and get that wet and then start to press this down. You want to make sure that you get it completely covered, make sure you get it totally wet. So make sure there's nothing around where you're working that can't get wet. And I just held on to the backing just to make sure that it didn't start sliding around. And with this first one, I did cut the print in half. I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to work with the curve. I had never worked with a curve before. So for this first one, I am doing it in parts. So now that I've got that off, I'm going to go ahead and put on the rest of the piece. And I will go ahead and get that all pressed down. And it is a little bit of a learning curve getting used to the curves on the tumbler, but it actually worked way better than I thought it was going to. With me doing this one in such a small piece, it did want to move around on me. It only happened with this first one, and then it didn't happen again. In fact, there was a little spot here where it didn't connect. So I just took an extra little piece of scrap and then just placed it on there and covered up where it has that little line where the two did not connect together. I just decided to do a mix and match of different spring florals for this. So my big thing was I wanted to make sure I got some yellow in it. I've just been really big into yellow this spring. For this one, I'm going to cut it off at the top so that the rest of the piece just lays all the way down. I did do this one in one full piece. You also want to make sure that before you lay it down that it's not going to cross onto the other one that's already there. I didn't want them on top of each other, so now I'm just doing the same thing, just holding the paper tight and just slowly getting all of that backing wet so that it will release all of the temporary tattoo. Because it's curved, there was a couple little ridges that stayed up. So I'm just taking the wet paper towel and just rubbing it over on there, and then just rubbing out any of the spots where it was a little bit wrinkled. There was like one or two little spots that it was just too bunched up, so I just took my X-Acto knife and just trimmed it out, trimmed up at the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and start working on the last one. I'm just going in and doing the exact same thing. Now that I'm on my third one, this has gotten really easy to do. And because I don't want it to be touching the other flowers that are on there, I am going to trim the sides of it just to make sure that I'm lining it up correctly. Because once you flip it over, you're seeing the backing, so it's a little bit harder to make sure that you're lining it up perfectly. So I just made my life a little bit easier. And I'm just going to go ahead and flip it over and do the paper towel method one more time and get this all locked in. I really love how it all looks with the glitter that's underneath it. It just sparkles right through. It worked out exactly as I hoped it would. I let that all completely dry, and now I'm going in with another 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I will let this spin for 4 hours until it is completely dry, and then we're going to start working with some water slides. I definitely wanted to add a little bit more to it, so I printed out some bees that I already had on my Cricut, and then I just took one of my leopard print SVGs and I turned it into a PNG. I made it this really like light bluish gray color. I wanted to have the leopard spots on there, but I didn't want them to be overwhelming like black, like really bold. I wanted them to be really light, so I decided to do a water slide on this because then the glitter is still shining through and it kind of just matches the color tone of the entire tumbler. So I used my Haze water slide paper, which is the kind where I have to seal it. So once I printed it out, I took it outside and I sprayed it 3 separate times with my spray sealant, just making sure that it was going to work properly when I applied the water to it. you need help working with water slides, just let me know in a comment somewhere on here or in my Lily Bean Crafters Community Facebook group, and I could definitely make a video of applying water slides and showing you how I do it from start to finish. I am just going to take my time. You put it in the water until it's ready to release. You want to make sure that you get the cup wet wherever you're going to be applying it. Then I like to move the water slide around on the backing just to make sure that it's completely released. And then I press it on. I do like to do water slides where I'm pressing it down, kind of like how the temporary tattoo was done. It just works a little bit easier for me when I do it that way. And then I'm just kind of placing this exactly where I want it to be. And then I will go ahead and do this with the 6 bees that I had and then all of the leopard print. And then once this is all applied, I am going to go ahead and put it off to the side for a little bit and just let everything dry completely. And then we'll go ahead and get the final coats of epoxy on here. I am going to go in with 10 ml of my fast set epoxy one more time just to get this all sealed in. Once it dries for 4 hours, I do sand it down really gently, and then I'm going to go in with my final 10 ml of my Flynn Sisters Artist Cure resin, which is going to give that beautiful shine. It all came together really pretty. I just had on a whim decided to do another tattoo, and I am absolutely in love with how this entire technique turned out. I'm going to let this dry for 8 to 10 hours and then it will be completely done. And this is the final product. It really is just so sparkling. It's super simple and it just looks so intricate, but it was just the easiest tumbler to make. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see everybody again next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.